at the national level, the national government has shown itself very capable of dealing in a responsive way to disasters like Sichuan, like Wenchuan. The army was there very quickly, PLA, very successful. So I think it has a lot to teach other armies about disaster relief. The government was very effective and efficient. The Dongfan destroyed factory within 6 months, had detailed planning permission, and was starting to build a new factory. Huge. I think 2.5 kilometers by 2.5 kilometers. Massive. At a regional level, it's clear that the Pacific Rim is going to experience increased amounts of earthquake activity. We've seen the tragic tsunami in Japan. We've seen the tragic earthquake in New Zealand. We've seen earthquakes around the 8 level in Chile. And so it's a possibility that the east coast of China, the sea coast in China, or the west coast of America will now start to experience similar problems. My feeling is that there's time for the regional countries in the Pacific Rim to come together, not only in a tsunami warning, but also in a collaborative arrangement to help each other should a disaster occur. What is clear is that the amount of geophysical, volcanic, earthquake, and tsunami activity is beginning to increase dramatically. Even a few days ago, there was a massive earthquake in Spain. So we're hearing, sorry, it's once in 50 years or once in 500 years. But these events are now happening annually. And they will increase in frequency. At a global level, it's clear to me that if we come together as a global society and we work together as a common humanity, then we can overcome whatever challenge is presented to us. We have to redefine our concept of security. At the moment, we think security is protecting ourselves against each other. And our true security might be that we come together as one global humanity to protect each other against external events, like volcanoes, tsunamis, and so on. So I think a moment has arrived in the evolution of our society where we move from little hunter-gatherer groups through tribes, through nations, to one big family, one big human family. If you go to space, there's no lines on the map that says this is USA, this is UK, there's nothing like that. The excitement for me of Deyang and the conference here today is that it is a platform to start a discussion. My personal belief is that there is a capacity within China to be potentially a world leader in taking us out of our present predicament. somewhere deep buried in the Chinese psyche is a concept of the Tao, is a concept of yin and yang, the dynamic movement between the masculine and the feminine. Our problem in the West is that we are addicted to the masculine. That has driven Western society for the last 300 to 400 years. If you can imagine, if you would, a booster rocket in a space shop. The booster rocket has a special function. The function is to reach 17,500 miles an hour, which takes the spaceship out of the gravitational pull of the Earth. But when it's achieved that, it can take the spaceship no further. The skill is to blow the explosive bolts and to let the booster rocket fall back to Earth and burn up. And that's where we are as a society. The economic system we have at the moment has taken us this far. It's enriched and given freedom to 1.5 billion, maybe 2 billion people. But it can't take us any further. What we now have to do is to let go of that system and choose a new way of relating to each other, a new way of trading with each other, a new way of understanding each other, and more important than all of that, a new system of values immediately, of mitigating the disasters, of lessening the disasters, of creating resilience where there is disaster, whilst we have the deeper discussions about values, about financial systems, about corporate behavior, and so on. So we need to hold, as it were, in as much as we can, the potential disasters in suspension whilst we talk about the really important matters, the drivers of these catastrophes. China is in a unique position by making strategic decisions to change the entire direction that the world is going in. In my understanding, she is the only power today that has the capacity and maybe the willingness to do that. What happened in Deyang today was very interesting. What we were saying essentially is that if we continue in the same way that we're continuing now, business as usual, we aren't going to make it through. But if we take a step back and decide there are things that need to change and work actively for those changes to happen, then we can make it through. So at one level, very simple level, we need to model disasters so that we can see them coming and that we can minimize loss of life. At another level, we need to look at how we can create resilient eco-communities. But at a deep level, we need to explore the values of what it means to be human. And having discovered that, we need to create the systems that reflect it. I really believe China is the only power in the world today that has the capacity to understand the problem and to deliver the answer.